Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty consultant and today we are doing a luxurious foundation showdown. We have the new Burberry foundation comparing it to the new Guerlain terracotta foundation, and you guys, I could not be more happier than doing this video for you guys. But before we get into the details of this video, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. And if you are new, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad because we love to have you. And let's get right into this video. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a different foundation showdown for me, simply because we're already at the end of the day, okay? So this morning started off a little rushed and I wasn't able to do like a, actual intro to the video before going on with the day, but I did take footage of my face right after I finished applying my makeup so you could see what it looked like basically with a full face put together. But we're already at the end of the day. I've had both of these foundations on for a little over 8 hours, about 8.5 hours, and I have actually worn the Burberry foundation before. This is my first time wearing the Guerlain foundation, so we got some things to talk about just from what we've been doing so far. Okay, so let's start with the Burberry foundation. This is called the Burberry Beyond Wear Perfecting Matte Foundation. It comes in 24 shades. It retails for $60, and we do get 1 fluid ounce of product or 30 milliliters of product. I picked up this shade called 100 Medium Deep Neutral, and this particular foundation, so far, I've only seen it on the Burberry website. That's where I did order it from. And let me just tell you, Burberry made me feel some kind of special because it came in this beautiful box with a bow on it. Like, it was just really nice. It's my first Burberry purchase ever, so I felt really nice about it. Okay, but getting into the details of this. So this is going to be the new long-lasting liquid foundation with Trench Protect technology that goes beyond by combining 24-hour active wear, long-lasting active care, and weather protection for a flawless finish that lasts. It's gonna even out your complexion, blur the appearance of pores, and helps protect the skin from environmental factors. It's gonna leave you with a smooth, natural matte finish. It's a breathable foundation, lightweight in its formulation, buildable coverage from medium to full, and it's the ultra sensory, creamy texture that blends seamlessly for all day, stay true color. The breathable film is going to provide resistance against water, humidity, sweat, and heat, and the formula is infused with bamboo powder for instant mattifying action and silk cotton tree flower extract to help rebalance the skin, preserving the mattifying properties while providing hydration. It says that you can apply this foundation with your fingers, a brush, or a sponge, and it's a vegan formula suitable for all skin types, including sensitive skin. It's dermatologically tested and non-comedogenic. Okay, that was a lot. Alrighty, so like I mentioned before, I did wear this foundation before and I wore it for a full day. So applying this foundation to the skin, I used the Rose & Ben C42 brush for the application, and this blended really beautiful onto the skin. Now, shade-wise, I was like, this looks orange. I ain't gonna hold you. It looks orange. And I was like, for this to be medium neutral, this is pulling really warm on the skin. So I don't know how neutral this particular shade is, but in my opinion, it definitely shows much more warm against my complexion. It is a little deep, but I think I can make this shade work for what it is. But just wanting to put that out there that I don't know how true to the definitions the shades are in terms of cool, warm, and neutral. Those are the tones that we do have in this foundation. Now, blending it onto the skin blends very effortlessly. I would agree to all the claims. Very lightweight. When I wore this the first time, I forgot I had foundation on my face, and I had been wearing it for a few hours, and I went to scratch on my face, and I was like, oh shoot, I've got foundation on. Very lightweight. My skin did not feel clogged or anything like that. Definitely would agree this has medium to full coverage. Just with applying it to the face, I was like, okay, this is definitely giving me coverage. I would say that the formulation is also a little thick, not too thick to where it's like gonna sit on top of your face, but it's definitely not a thin formulation at all. And in terms of being like sweat proof, humidity proof, I haven't tested those claims just yet because I haven't been sweating or anything like that. But I will say that this formulation, I would agree that it can last for a good amount of time. When I first wore this foundation, I did my skincare as usual, and I was really shocked because at the end of the day, I had a lot of radiance. I was like, is this a matte foundation? Because I feel like I have like more dew than I really expected. And it was kind of all over my face. So I have more normal skin. I really do love dewy foundations, radiant foundations. So I didn't mind the radiance, but I was kind of shocked because I was like, this is claiming to be a matte foundation. And when first applied to the skin, we do see that kind of soft, velvety look to the skin. So I expected it to kind of carry that throughout the day. And I don't tend to produce too many oils unless I'm hot or unless a foundation is so dry and matte that I'm producing more oils because my skin feels parched, which I don't think that was the case for this because my skin didn't feel tight and dry and like it was like suffocating under the foundation, because I've definitely felt that before. So today when I applied this foundation, I decided to go in with minimal skincare. So instead of using a couple of my serums, I just cleansed, toned. I went in with one serum, moisturized, SPF. And I will say after about 8.5 hours of wear, I'm definitely noticing less like dewiness, less shine. I do obviously have some dew right along here, but when you're looking at this side of the face, I feel like I still look, I feel like it looks more like my natural oils coming through versus looking like really dewy. Does that make sense? Like if I literally just added a dab of powder there, like my face would be good to go and we could keep going for a very long time. So I think for this formulation, just from the couple of times that I've worn it, I would say that depending on how your skin is prepped, this foundation kind of leans into that and will adjust to it in the sense of if I did go in with a lot of hydrating products, a lot of moisturizing products, then it's gonna kind of dematify the foundation, if that makes sense. If I probably would have went in with more mattifying primers, if I would have really set with like a more durable powder, one that like kind of really makes me matte, this probably would have leaned right into that matteness and you probably would be matte all day long. With that said, that makes me think that this foundation really could be for all skin types. And you know, I will definitely follow up with my claims after wearing this multiple times, but just from the couple of experiences and what I know about foundations, because your girl is a foundation junkie, I really do think if you manipulate this the way your skin would like it to be, it will be that, which I think is actually pretty cool. Loving the look of this side of my face. I think it looks really kind of flawless. I got a couple of like compliments today. I was just like, thank y'all. And I really wanted to be like, it's the foundations that I'm wearing today because let's talk about this Guerlain, okay? So this is the Guerlain Terracotta Le Tint Healthy Glow Foundation, and it's going to retail for $62. We get a total of 1.2 ounces or 35 milliliters of product, and this comes in 30 shades. I picked up the shade 4N, which is for medium skin with a neutral beige undertone. And let me just say, I was very happy with the shade match. I was kind of concerned with neutral beige, but I was like, neutral undertones work best for me. I'm gonna take my chances. And I really like this color match. It was almost like to the T dead on for my complexion. So this is a revolutionary liquid to powder foundation with up to 24 hours of wear. Medium coverage with a no transfer formula for a beautiful, healthy looking glow and luminous matte finish. It says that it has argan oil, which will provide lasting comfort and maintain the skin's hydration for up to 24 hours. It contains gem tone. This is a self-adaptable shimmer that helps foundation to adjust to all skin tones. Aha! How about that? Okay. It's going to say that this is born from Guerlain's bronzing powder expertise, and it combines the seamless ultra sensory lightness of a powder with the perfecting power of a fluid foundation for an effortless finish. So, like I said, today was my first time wearing this foundation, and I would have to agree with the claims as well. It didn't mention so much a lightweight formula, but this is a very lightweight formula. And let me do swatches so you can just see what they look like. on the back of my hand so you can get an idea of the formulation. I did not feel like I was wearing foundation on this side of my face at all either. So here we have the Burberry foundation, and then here we have, yes, I was making sure I was pointing to the right one. And here we have the Guerlain foundation. So as you can see, both of the formulas are not going to be extremely runny at all. Both of them have a bit of consistency to them. They both also do have fragrance. The Guerlain foundation does smell like the terracotta bronzer, but it is so much less prominent than it is in the bronzers. And with Burberry, it just smells like it's got a little bit of fragrance. Nothing like, at least to me, off-putting, but it does smell like fragrance. The fragrance does not last on the skin though. As soon as I blended it in, I didn't smell either foundation, so that is good to know. Okay, so this foundation, when I put it on, I definitely noticed that it had a little bit more radiance just right off the back versus the Burberry one. I also thought that it definitely has more of a medium coverage. So I do think if you wanted to build this foundation, you could get it to a very solid medium coverage. I don't know about full coverage, but it also is not claiming to be full coverage. So I did notice a difference in coverage between the Guerlain foundation and the Burberry foundation. I really liked how this foundation applied to the skin. I also used the Rose & Bend C42 brush and I just wiped it off so I could use the same tool. And I think it blended really effortlessly into the skin. I already mentioned the shade match. I do feel like the shade match definitely matched me better. And you can see the difference of shade just a little bit like around my nose right here. And there was no oxidation between either foundation. So I do think the Burberry foundation does stay true to color. Even though I thought it was gonna oxidize because it started off so warm, I thought it was going to get more warm, but it didn't. Looking at my face right after applying both foundations, I was like, ma'am, oh ma'am, oh ma'am, this is gonna be tough because I couldn't see too much of a difference at all. Like both sides look just perfected and flawless and beautiful. And I really couldn't look at my face and go like, oh, I think I'm gonna lean toward this side or that side. I was like, the only thing just right off the back that the Guerlain side had against Burberry was the shade. I was like, the shade definitely is working better for me than Burberry. So of course, taking it in natural lighting, it was still kind of dark outside when I was filming this, so I do have the flash on my camera, but both sides are looking really good. And there was no flashback at all when I took a picture with both of these foundations. However, you definitely saw the disparity between the shades in the flash photography. And then taking it outside, like I said, it was a little dark this morning, but everything still looks really nicely on both sides of the face. So let's come in close and see what things are looking like now that we've had these foundations on for over 8.5 hours. Okay, so like we mentioned earlier, I do have some dew around my nose, but looking at my pores, they're usually right along here, my forehead, sometimes along the chin, you can see them. I really can't see any difference in these foundations. I would agree that both are going to address the pores, even though Guerlain doesn't specifically say that it's going to address the pores, but my pores are definitely addressed. I did not put on a primer when putting on either of these foundations. The last thing I put on my face before these foundations was my SPF, and that doesn't address pores or anything like that. So I feel like both sides of my face in terms of pores and my forehead, like pores are definitely diminished and blurred. I also don't have on any highlight. The blush that I'm wearing is, it's more like a satin blush, but it doesn't have like sparkle or anything like that. I did use the terracotta bronzer by Guerlain for my bronzer, just to call out some things on my face. But looking at both sides of my face, you guys, I can't choose. I really can't choose because I feel like for Guerlain, this foundation definitely does have more of, I would say like a luminous matte finish. Like we definitely see a little bit more luminosity with this foundation, but it's still looking really pretty. I don't feel like I look overly dewy. Like I feel like if you look at this side of my face, it just looks like maybe I have on some highlighter, or just a radiant foundation. This side of my face, I feel like we definitely see more coverage on this side of the face. So with the Burberry foundation, this would not be a foundation I would wear like every day, simply because I don't go for full coverage foundations every day. But if I want the coverage for like a more glam look or something like that, this is gonna give me the coverage. With Guerlain, I feel like this one is more like an everyday type of foundation because the formulation is a little bit thinner. Now, when I say that, I am being biased because I like to wear either light to medium coverage foundations on a day-to-day, like going to work or just like a regular schmegular, you know, Friday, Saturday. But I also would wear this foundation if I wanted to get dressed up, but I just didn't want anything extremely full coverage. In terms of formulation and who I think the skin types would work really well for this, I would say that definitely dry skin, normal skin, maybe combination oily. And the reason why I say that is because if you have oily skin, you may not want this radiance right here. And that's obviously a preference. And like I said, I always say this in all my videos, prep your skin the way your skin needs to be prepped. So if you wanted this foundation and you do have oily skin, still go in with your mattifying primers, still set with your mattifying powders, because I do think that it would allow for this foundation to potentially look like how you want it to look. But knowing that it is a luminous matte, then we do know at some point of the process of the day, luminosity may come through. So depending on how you like for your foundations to wear, if you do have oily skin, and depending on how you want your face to look at the end of the day, that in my opinion would determine if this would be the foundation you would reach for, okay? Now, I can definitely tell that this foundation does have some longevity because I'm going to just blot my face. So I'm not even gonna add powder. I'm just gonna take a clean side of my sponge. This is the Rose and Ben's triangular sponge. And I'm just gonna go like this. We're not even gonna add powder. I'm just going to address the shine, okay? And right there, we've touched up. And I feel like I could really keep going on for a really good amount of time. And I think if you're someone who doesn't mind touching up, you're like, you know, I carry my blotting powders with me all the time, Chelsea, then if you do have more oily skin, you might actually like the formulation and how it looks on the skin because it does touch up really, really nicely. Y'all, I cannot choose. I really can't choose. I keep looking at my face and I'm like, Guerlain, Burberry, Guerlain, Burberry. I'm gonna need for you all to tell me, because I really can't tell you guys. Now, just calling out some pros and cons that I do see, or I should say some cons that I do see. I think with the Burberry foundation, the shade range is definitely lackluster when we're getting into the deeper shades. Now for the lighter shades to medium shades to even tan shades, like Burberry has a really good selection, but not so much for the deeper shades. And then for Guerlain, the shades are going to be a little better, but we still have more shades in the lighter, medium tan category than we do the deep, richer complexions. So the shade range for both, you know, is not the best, but I would say that if you could find your shade, I would recommend both of these foundations. And outside of that, I mean, with the Burberry foundation, the undertones may not be spot on. Granted, I'm just talking about one. So that might be a con depending on if these foundations really do lean more warm than they do lean toward, you know, what they're supposed to be. But I have no complaints. I mean, I really like both sides of my face and I think they look beautiful. I really can't tell you guys which one I like more. I mean, if I had to, absolutely, Chelsea, like, I'm gonna chop your fingers off if you don't tell me. Okay, I would go for Guerlain only because the shade is gonna match me better. And if I wanted to like throw this on my face with like minimal makeup, then I could do that. But I do like this Burberry one. So you guys let me know, what side do you like best? Burberry, Guerlain? Are you interested in either of these foundations? Let me know that down in the comment section below. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad because we'd love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.